we essentially had to destroy our marriage.
Oh, yeah.
I needed more freedom.
Through our pain, let's try to learn through our pain.
By the day, revelations with the Smith family keep getting all the more interesting. And now it seems Willow has had enough of her parents. Although they've been very open about their family's unconventional methods of doing things, but it seems Willow's had it up to the neck and is now lashing out at her mom. Does Willow blame her mom for the family problems? Does she think Jada is a terrible mother? Will and Jada have been considered by several people over the years as the dream couple. But right now, things are hitting the curb, and even their kid is speaking up. It's considered general knowledge that the Smiths have a pretty unusual life, but that became even worse with their kids, and Willow seems to have reached her breaking point. While this is just another revelation by the singer, this isn't the first time she's spoken out about the difficulties of being Jada's kid. According to her, growing up with parents like Will and Jada wasn't exactly the fairy tale most kids out there probably think it was, as they had a pretty unorthodox way of raising their children. The Whip My Hair singer has been speaking about her difficult relationship with her parents a lot, and now she's confirmed that dates back to when she first broke into the music industry. I only have one terrible experience, which is Whip My Hair, Willow says when she asked about the times she had difficulty connecting to her parents. Just that the values of the people around me should have been the opposite. You and Daddy should have been like, okay, we value her musical growth and knowledge more than her popularity. While her daughter saw things as difficult at home, Jada believed she was actually helping Willow, stating that she grew up at a different time in the world when people had to strive to get ahead in life. For us, it's that survival mentality, the 50-year-old actress noted. Your dad and I, we were like, oh man, she'll be set up for life. This is her start. Even though there might have been some truth to Jada's words, that was only the beginning of Willow's challenges as a Smith child. The 21-year-old singer later opened up a bit more and shed light on some other more interesting philosophies that were used in raising her. And guess where it took place? Yep, in her mom's own show. On an episode of Red Table Talk with her mom Jada and her grandmother Adrienne Banfield Norris, while they were speaking on the use of shame as a parenting tool, Willow reminisced on her early relationship with her parents and also reflected on moments when she felt like she had been shamed by her mom, including times when she was emotionally struggling. Willow said, when I was younger, I would just get super emotional, and like, I get super emotional now, she continued. But you would look at me, and then you would just be like, yeah, you can cry, but do it over there. Like, go into your room and do it over there. Like, you're pushing me away for crying, like I'm a bad person for crying. Jada then admitted that she was at the time dealing with her own problems and didn't see how what she was doing wasn't okay, but later grew to understand how her behavior was terrible. I do recognize those moments, and it had a lot to do with me not being able to handle my own vulnerability at the time. Just growing up in those environments we grew up in, you know? And it's a different playing field now, she said. And while most people would think that this is the height of her shortcomings as a parent, it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. Apart from being criticized for her daughter taking a somewhat unusual picture with an obviously older man at 13, Jada was also lashed by the internet for her daughter getting shirtless at a young age. But while the actress was able to defend all of these and blame it on her unorthodox parenting techniques, it became a whole new story when Willow revealed she'd been cutting her wrist.
Honestly, felt like I was experiencing so much emotional pain, but my physical circumstances weren't reflecting that.
In the words of the singer, I would have to say I honestly feel like I lost my sanity at one point, Willow said of her difficult time after skyrocketing to fame in 2010. After the tour and the promotion and all of that, they wanted me to finish my album. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. After all of that kind of settled down and it was like a lull, I was listening to a lot of dark music and it was just so crazy. I was just plunged into this black hole and I was like cutting myself and doing crazy things. And while her mother has apologized for her mishaps as a parent in raising her and her siblings, fans seem to think Jada is the problem, and who can blame them, given what was been revealed about her marriage to Will in the last couple of months. One user wrote, "I cannot imagine the unrelenting, never-ending torture of having to live with that woman, day and night, never knowing when she's going to say something else to hurt you." A second user agreed that Jada was pretty much the problem, even in her marriage. They wrote, "I think we all know someone like Jada, who does whatever they want for attention, but then has to concoct some long philosophy lecture to explain why they are smarter and kinder than you for doing it. Every time she says the red table stuff was in Will's best interest, it reminds me of real manipulators I know." Someone else who also mentioned how she is the bad guy in the marriage and even brought up her past affair, or as she said, entanglement. The August thing in the red table talk about it came off to me as, yeah, Will was visibly hurt, but willing to stick around and work on their marriage, and that's not for me to judge or make fun of the way the internet was going for Jada's throat. It came off as displaying the hard work that goes into a marriage of two people who have decided to put that hard work in. Another user even explicitly stated that Will had to divorce Jada for him to be free, and even referenced that she was starting to get to Willow. He needs to check the prenuptials and split. She slowly, inadvertently manipulated him to be like this and commit some serious acts of self-sabotage against his will. Still reminds me of that disaster interview she did with him for the Round Table show. Remember the letter from Willow to Tupac? Yeah, and I'm sure more nonsense was said. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Willow seems to be more understanding of her parents' relationship than most people. And why wouldn't she? They live together. Recently, while on an interview with Independent, Willow shared how she feels about her parents' occasionally tumultuous relationship now that she's a lot older and sees things as an adult. And although this is usually a gray area for most kids, but not Willow, she had a lot to say. She said, "I feel I've always understood that my parents are their own people. A lot of kids think of their parents like, your whole identity is for me. But seeing them in this lifestyle we had from a very young age, it was clear to me they weren't just my parents. They're full other people who have their own emotions. This is pretty understandable given that her parents were already firmly in the public eye, even before she was born, and would have had a pretty difficult time reshaping their identities after the kids were born." Willow also went on to talk about how the Red Table Talk show has created a safe and educative avenue where she and her entire family can express themselves without any fear. She said, "It's exciting for me when different perspectives start to come out and clash a little bit. So much of the time we just agree. Go girl, 100%, So I like when that happens. That's how you grow. If you're always agreeing, you're not creating a new idea. Humans get so much comfort from all the structures we've created for ourselves, everything in its little box. It's more than obvious from Willow's words that she's grown far beyond most of her childhood problems and now understands her parents better. And while that is a good thing for her, recent events have made several of the fans pretty skeptical about how great of a wife and parent her mom is. But maybe she's right. Tell us what you think. That brings us to the end of today's video. See you next time.